The story we were told about the extinction of the dinosaurs was always about the Tyrannosaurus rex and the meteor. It's the classic narrative: a colossal predator meets a sudden, catastrophic end. But beneath the shadow of those giants, the true winner had already been crowned, hundreds of millions of years ago. We are not here to talk about 3-foot teeth or razor-sharp claws. We are here to talk about a masterpiece of biological engineering that has remained perfect for over 200 million years: the shell. Turtles didn't just survive the age of dinosaurs, they dominated it. They escaped the Permian-Triassic event, the greatest mass murder of life on Earth. And when the KT asteroid hit, the strongest shelled lineage didn't even notice. This is not a video about slowness or patience. It is about the creature that broke the rules of evolution, the giant turtle, and how its success and structural perfection nearly led to the extinction of the entire marine ecosystem.
The turtle narrative begins not with armor, but with a sacrifice. In the deep darkness of the Triassic period, about 220 million years ago, as reptiles began to dominate the planet, a lineage of proto-turtles called Odontocheles made a radical evolutionary decision. They didn't want to be faster, they wanted to be unbreakable. The process was gradual and brutal. To form this impenetrable shell, their ribs widened and fused, welding themselves to their spine. The inner body became a perfect prison, protected by an abdominal plate born from the fusion of their belly bones. There was no intelligence involved, only the blind pressure of natural selection, forcing them to build a fortress out of their own skeletons. This engineering, which initially seemed like a burden, limiting their breathing and agility, was in fact the foundation for a reign that would span epochs, outlasting every predator that dared to emerge.
This newfound invulnerability came with a terrifying biological price. The carapace was not just a shield, it was a burden, emotion limiter. The animal, now encased in solid bone, was condemned to slowness, a fatal disadvantage in most evolutionary races. Breathing became a challenge, escape speed was non-existent, and terrestrial locomotion a slow agony. Why did nature insist on this design? Because, for the turtle, the shell was not an accessory, it was the purpose. It was the absolute answer to the predator. While other reptiles bet on speed and agility, turtles bet on durability. They were willing to sacrifice almost everything so that, if they were found, the predator would have nothing. This radical trade-off, agility for immortality, is the boldest story of life on Earth, and it paved the way for these creatures to dominate the oceans for centuries.
During the Cretaceous period, the oceans transformed into an arena of colossal predators. But while mosasaurs and giant sharks battled for supremacy, the turtle took its engineering to a new extreme. The result was the Archelon. This creature was not merely large, it was a leviathan. Measuring over 4 meters long, weighing more than 2 tons, and boasting flippers with a 5-meter span, the Archelon was, in fact, the size of a small car. Its shell, though leathery to save weight, was still rigidly fixed, offering sufficient defense against almost anything the ocean threw at it. Suddenly, slowness was no longer an issue. Mass became its primary defense. This giant turtle didn't just coexist with the dinosaurs, it faced them in the sea, proving that its 220-million-year-old invention was still nature's most efficient structure. The turtle shell was not a passive defense, it was a declaration of superiority. The secret wasn't just in the hardness of the bone, but in its geometry. Imagine the bite pressure of a prehistoric shark or the impact force of a pliosaur. For most creatures, that would mean the end. But the carapace, with its dome structure and complex fusion, distributed the force of the impact across the entire surface. Predators, in turn, had to evolve specialized teeth capable of crushing, not just cutting. Even if they managed to bite, the beak of the Archelon and other giant turtles was equally fearsome. Sharp, strong, and keratin-coated, it not only chewed hard-shelled creatures, but was also a formidable weapon. The turtle had become the ultimate biological bullet, a creature with no weak spot, capable of dominating the marine ecosystem without natural predators. Between the late Cretaceous and the early Paleocene, the oceans were the realm of the giant turtles. For a period that lasted 10 million years, they rewrote the rules of the food chain. There was no marine predator that could threaten an adult Archelon, consolidating it as the royalty of aquatic reptiles. Their dominion was absolute. Unlike dinosaurs, who relied on brute force and agility, the giant turtles ruled through deterrence. It was simply easier and safer to hunt another animal. This absence of predatory pressure created a dangerous evolutionary comfort zone. Without the need to innovate or adapt quickly, the giant turtle became too efficient in its niche. The peak of its success was, ironically, the seed of its future vulnerability, transforming its 10 million-year reign into an evolutionary trap. Nature abhors stagnation. The success of the Archelon lay in its perfection for the Cretaceous ecosystem, but this hyper-specialization was the first nail in its coffin. The oceans of the time were vast, rich, and warm, allowing the giant turtle to thrive as an opportunistic predator. However, its physiology, bound to immense mass and the need for warm environments, made it inflexible. Evolution is a constant race. When a creature becomes the best at one thing, it becomes vulnerable to everything else. While sharks and other marine reptiles still had room for rapid changes, the giant turtle was fully committed to its tank-like design. It had conquered the present, but it was utterly unprepared for the turbulent future that was approaching. Perfect engineering had become a trap. The perfection of the Archelon demanded commensurate sustenance. Vast fields of jellyfish and cephalopods were required to support that immense biomass. The problem began when the marine environment, even before the asteroid impact, started to change. Fluctuations in global temperature and ocean chemistry affected the base of the food chain. With scarcity, the giant turtle, which could not afford to be selective or migrate rapidly like whales, began to consume indiscriminately. Its efficiency as a predator on an industrial scale meant that, in times of crisis, it not only suffered, but also accelerated the collapse of its own niche. It was so good at consuming that it left no room for recovery. The shell saved it from the predator, but condemned it to starve along with the very life source it depleted. The final blow to the giant turtles came even before the asteroid, in the form of a subtle and relentless threat: temperature change. Being reptiles, turtles relied on ambient heat to maintain their metabolic functions. Archelon, with its colossal body and slow metabolism, thrived in warm waters. However, when ocean currents shifted and parts of the Upper Cretaceous experienced a cooling, the giant was caught off guard. Its mass, once a defense, transformed into an energy drain. To keep that huge body warm, the need for food increased precisely when it was scarce. Marginal environments became lethal. The perfect engineering was, after all, flawed. The design was ideal only under ideal climatic conditions. The cold did not kill Archelon immediately, but it made it slow, starved, and hopelessly vulnerable.
The final cataclysm arrived 66 million years ago, the Cretaceous-Paleogene KT extinction event. As dust and nuclear winter covered the planet, Archelon and its gigantic relatives simply vanished. Their specialization in warm waters and their need for massive amounts of food made them the first casualties of the new cold and hungry era. But the disaster was not the end of the entire lineage. Amidst the chaos, 7 families of sea turtles survived. They were the 7 sisters, the smaller, more adaptable, and less specialized lineages. They could hibernate, they could eat a greater variety of food, and their smaller bodies required less energy to survive. The lesson was brutal. It wasn't perfect engineering that won. It was flexible engineering. Size, which was once the hallmark of invincibility, became the final burden that the KT asteroid merely finalized.
Nature, however, is stubborn. Although the KT event eliminated the giants of the sea, the evolutionary ambition to build a colossal carapace resurfaced in an unexpected place. Millions of years later, in the humid heat of the South American Miocene, the Stupendemys geographicus appeared. This turtle, unlike Archelon, was freshwater and even larger. With shells over 3 meters long and an estimated weight of more than a ton, it was an amphibious tank. Stupendemys shows us that perfect engineering does not disappear, it merely waits for the right time and environment. It proves that the shell is still the most effective design in Earth's history. But by returning to gigantism, it also carried the same fragility, dependence on a vast, warm, and stable environment. Evolution was preparing to repeat the same mistake.
The legacy of the giant turtles lives on in modern species, creatures that defy time. They are renowned for their longevity, often living for over a century, thanks to their slow evolution and efficient metabolism. This is the ultimate benefit of the shell. Time to overcome famines, time to migrate, time to reproduce repeatedly. However, the giantism of the past taught a bitter lesson. Time is no defense against rapid change. The paradox is cruel. A creature engineered by nature to live 100 years can have its life brutally cut short in 1 minute. The turtle's strength is its long-term resilience. Its weakness is its inability to dodge a modern fishing net or avoid the plastic that chokes the ocean. Evolution saved them from pliosaurs, but left them vulnerable to the fastest and most destructive predator in history.
For millions of years, the life of turtles was a simple equation. Survive youth, and the shell will save you. The greatest Achilles heel of the species has always been its life cycle, the necessity of laying vulnerable eggs on land. But prehistoric predators were a predictable threat, countered by simple quantity. Today, the predator is the human. It is not just the nets and pollution that attack the invincible adult. It is the relentless exploitation of every nest, the collection of every egg. The turtle egg, a nutritious and perfect resource, attracts the predator that did not exist in the Mesozoic era, one that uses intelligence and technology to overcome 200 million years of passive defense. The turtle's success has always relied on their ability to make up for it with numbers. The human is the only predator capable of breaking that math.
The shell is not just an evolutionary feat, it is a living fossil record of every battle that life has faced.
Since the proto-turtles in the Triassic, the carapace has represented nature's highest stake on defense. It survived extreme weather, famine, the largest predators the planet has ever produced, and even asteroid impacts. The modern turtle, small and agile compared to Archelon, still carries this near-perfect design. Today, the shell is no longer necessary to deflect the bite of a marine T-Rex, but it has become the very reason why humanity feels compelled to protect them. It is the symbol of a creature that, due to its biological stubbornness, has resisted all catastrophes. The conservation effort is, in fact, our attempt to give the turtle the one thing it cannot evolve: safe time, to continue its millions of years-long journey.
The saga of the giant turtle teaches us the harshest lesson of evolution. Perfection is temporary. Archelon showed us that being the toughest predator, the most heavily armored creature in the ocean, does not guarantee survival. Its dramatic fall proved that inflexibility is the greatest vulnerability. The turtle nearly wiped out marine life by being too good at its niche, and was then wiped out for failing to adapt. Today, the 7 surviving lineages thrive because they learned from the giant's failure. Don't bet everything on a single design. The turtle is proof that to win the long game of history, you need more than strength. You need adaptability. And that is the only armor we will need to face the uncertainties of our own future.